Hey G Squad, welcome back to episode of Is It Worth It? Today's episode we got this cool design here, and pin what these are some charging station. And you see right here I do have two of them from the same exact brand, which is Anker, and this is from the brand called UGreen. The way how they design these pods is actually very similar, but these two right here is pretty much exactly the same design. But there is some new things about this one right here that just came out not too long ago, which is under the Anker Prime series. And then for the UGreen one, it's a completely different design, but it does give you guys a lot of power on here as well. So let's take a look at the UGreen one first. So for the UGreen one, give you guys 3 USB-C option and 1 USB. And they label on the bottom right here to let you guys know which one to use for where. So these will be for your phone and these will be for your laptop. For the USB-C option on here, they mention it can provide you guys up to 100 watts of power when you guys do use it, which is a lot of power if you guys do think about it, considering how you guys don't need to use your own wall charger to actually plug it in, which is pretty nice. Top right here, we do have the AC option for you to plug in with 2 prong. Back power here, we do have a 3 prong option, so there's 2 of them. And they tell you guys the max power on here is 1875, which is a lot of power. And the way how they design this product is actually pretty cool because they do have this button for the press to turn on and turn off the product, which is really convenient. For this product, it does have a built-in cable for you guys to use. It's not a separate cable like the other one. And right here in the bottom, they do have like the non-slip material to prevent it from moving around when you guys do use it. So that's pretty much everything for this one. Oh, and before I forget to mention about this one and other two that I'm going to show you guys is the fact that for each one of these, it does have the GaN technology in here. And that's why it allows the product to be so small and compact than your normal charging station, which is pretty cool. But now let's show you the other two right here. So for this one right here is the older version that is from the Anker brand, which is called 727. And this one right here is a newer one, which is under the Anker Prime series. This one provides you guys a lot more power than this one. For this one, they mentioned how it does provide you guys 100 watts of power when you guys use the USB-C option. For this one, they mentioned how it does provide you guys 140 watts, which is definitely a lot more power considering this one is only 100. And also the UGreen one is also 100 as well. But when you guys look at front power here, they do have 2 AC options for each one. And the way how to design each one of these, it does have a hidden design. So once you guys plug in your plug, it should pop out. So for example, right here, if you guys do test it out, you can see how it does pop out. And once you guys unplug it, it goes back in. Same thing for this one as well. Pops out, goes back in. So that design is actually very cool how it does save you guys a lot of space, which is pretty awesome. And then for each one of these products from the Anker brand, they do give you the same exact cable for you to use. So I'm going to use this one to test out both of them in a second. For the front part of the product, they do have the Anker brand name for both of them. This one, when you guys plug it in, there's a light that will pop on here. And then for this one right here, it does have the display screen that will show you guys the voltage, the watts, and everything else, which is pretty awesome. So I'll show you guys that in a second as well. When you guys do look at the side for both of them, it does tell you guys how there's a GaN Prime technology, just like the UGreen one as well. And they do have the button on the side for you guys to press, for you guys to turn it on and turn it off. So this one will allow you guys to change the display for what you guys want to see for watts or voltage. And this one will be for you guys to turn on and turn off the light, which is kind of like unnecessarily in my opinion. I feel like if they added this on here, it'd be so much better. If you guys do look at the bottom right here, they do have the slimmer design, 2 USB-C option and 2 USB for both of them. And the top right here is where you can plug in cable to actually activate it. And then for each one of these products, when you guys do use it, it does have the Power IQ technology and also like the Active Shield technology. So that way it can give you guys a fast charging speed at a safe speed, even if you guys would charge it overnight. And then here's what the back part looks like. So they do have like the non-slip material to prevent them from moving around when you guys do use it. And in terms of the power that's on here, according to what they mentioned, for this one right here, it's supposed to provide you guys around 1250 watts of power when you guys do use it. And then for this one right here, they mentioned how it's 1000, so you probably get a little bit less for this one compared to this one. So keep that in mind when you guys do use it. But when you guys do purchase this product, you guys are probably just buying it for the max output on here for the USB-C option and USB option. Not so much for the AC option, but it's still cool to have the option on here. So that's a little bit about each one of these products. Now let's give it a try and see how it does work, starting with the UGreen one first. So right here, I do have a MacBook Pro 16-inch that we're going to use for our test. So because the UGreen one and the older version of the Anker one, it does not give you guys the display to show you guys how much power, we're going to have to use something else. So I'm going to have to use my tester right here to plug it in. So let's do plug in here. If you guys do look at the power that's on here, currently it's providing you guys that much power, you can see. So right now it's providing around 91 watts. So that's a lot of power when you guys do use it. If you guys do plug in more than one device at the same time, let's see what happens. So for the other one, we're going to plug in my MacBook Air. So I have the cable here. If you guys do plug it in, and you see how when you guys do plug in 2 devices at the same time, it does reset. And when you guys look at the power that's being generated, it's a lot less compared to earlier. So it went from 91 watts or 92 watts, and now it's running around 62 and 63 watts. So it still probably got a lot of power, but not as much compared to 91 when you guys do plug in more than one at the same time. Same thing will apply to the other two as well. So I'm going to show you guys what I mean for the other ones. So next one we're going to try is probably the old one of the Anker one first. And I do want to let you guys know when you guys do plug in this one, I probably won't be able to show you guys the power for both of them at the same time because it probably will not fit because it's a bit more cramped compared to the other one. It's a little bit more spaced out since the product is so much more slimmer, which is totally understandable. So let's plug in cable first and we'll plug this on. Once you guys do plug it on, if you guys do look at the front part here, the light does turn on. So like I mentioned, that light is totally unnecessary, but it's cool that they have the option. But if you guys do give it a try, once you guys do plug it in, you guys can hear how it does charge. And when you guys do look at the power that's on here, you can see how the number is slowly going up. And it stays around 88 watts. So it doesn't go as high for this one when you guys do use it, but it's very close to 91 watts. And obviously when you guys do plug in more than one device at the same time, it will slow down the speed, just like the early one. So for example, if I do plug something on here, you guys can see how the number changed. So it kind of reset a little bit and the number changed to a little bit lower number. So now it's charging around 42 watts, you can see. So a lot less compared to what you guys saw earlier. So when you guys compare this one to the UGreen one, the UGreen one definitely provides you guys a lot more power when you guys do charge one or two devices at the same time. Now I unplug it and show you guys the last one, which is the newest one of the Anker Prime device. And for that one, I won't even need this because it does have the built-in display to show you guys how much power it does provide. So let's unplug this one and try the new one. I want to remove this as well, since we won't need it. So let's do plug it in. Once you guys plug it in, you can see right here we do have the display. If you guys do press the button on the side, it changes that option. Press on again, change the volt, press on again, go back to the main page. So what I'm doing right now is to plug it in and show you guys how much power it does provide. When we use it for MacBook Pro first, so it starts charging, and we see the power on here, it does provide a lot of power. So right now it's around 99 watts and slowly going up higher and higher. But what I'm going to do right now to show you guys the full extent or the full power on here, I'm going to run something on a laptop first to kind of use more of the power on here. Alright, so I'm running a bunch of stuff in the background on the laptop and you can see how much more power it does provide when you guys do use it. So right now it's going as high as 121, 125, 126. It's going up and down. If I do press the button right here, it changes the display to show you guys the other output on here at the same time. So right now I'll show you guys watts. If you guys press it again, it will show you guys the voltage option. So feel free to use whatever you guys want to use on here and turn the display. But what I'm doing right now is to plug in another device and see what happens. So I'm going to do the same thing and plug in my MacBook Air to show you guys what happens when you guys plug in more than one at a time. So once you guys plug it in, if you see the number change, so now it's being split between two devices when you guys do use it. So currently the MacBook Pro is providing around 62 watts. And then the MacBook Air is providing around 45 watts when we do use it. So it still provides guys a lot of power, but doesn't provide guys as much compared to when you guys only use one. Let me see. So for this one, when you guys use it, it definitely provides guys similar power when you guys use more than one at the same time compared to the UGreen one. But when you guys only use one at a time, it does provide guys way more power than the UGreen one and also the older version. You can see. So for example, if I unplug the cable again, if you guys do look at the power that's on here, so now the device is resetting. And when you guys do look at the power that's being generated on here, it's slowly going up high. And it's going as high as earlier as what I showed you guys for like 120 or like 114 right now. So depending on your battery percentage on your device, the lower it is, the faster charge. But once you reach like 80% or any higher than that, it does slow down the charge. So keep that in mind. And also depending on how much stuff you guys do have running in the background, it will generate a lot more power when you guys use it as well. Like right now I do have like a bunch of videos loading, and that's why I was able to go as high as 130 when you do use that. But at certain times you can go as high as 140 when it's used as well. Let me run a few more things to see whether or not we can go as high as 140 on here. Give me 1 second as I load all this stuff. Alright, so I loaded a few more things on here. And currently it's around like 124, 127. So that goes pretty high, you can see. I don't think I can get to 140 for this test, but you do have the option to go pretty high when you guys do use it. Definitely a lot more than UGreen and the previous version of the Anker older version of the 727. But that's pretty much everything that's on the product. Now that we show you guys all three of these in terms of what you guys do get and how well it does work, now to answer the question of whether or not it's worth it or not, and which one the better option to go for. So for all three of these charging stations, I do have to say that it is pretty worth it for what you guys do get. But if you guys want my honest opinion in terms of which one the better option to go for, I would probably have to say that the newest one for the Anker Prime, which is this one right here, is probably the most worth it in my opinion in terms of what you guys do get, since it does provide you guys the GaN technology, the fast charging speed on here, probably the fastest one out of all three when you guys use one single output. And it's so compact and so minimal for you to bring along when you guys are traveling, or if you guys need to bring it to the office or whatever. So if I had to rank all three of these in terms of which one's the most worth it, this would probably be number 1. This one right here would be number 2. And this one would be number 3. But if you guys want to pick between both of these two right here, I would have to say that this is obviously the best choice to go for, since it is a newer version and it provides you guys a lot more better technology on here to give you guys a faster charging speed, even when you guys plug in 1 or 2 devices at the same time. And the other thing that I forgot to mention before I forget is the fact that for each one of these, when you guys do plug in, you guys can feel free to plug in 6 devices for both of these and 7 for the other one. So regardless of which one you do pick, all of them are actually pretty worth it. But definitely the newest one of the Anker Prime one is the most worth it out of all three of these if you guys want my honest opinion. But then obviously for those of you guys who don't want or don't need one or haven't want these, obviously don't buy one and save your money on something else actually do need. So that's basically everything for this video itself. If you guys like this video, make sure to smash that like button in the bottom. That will definitely help this video out, and it will definitely help with the algorithm as well to promote more videos for you guys so you guys can see more of the videos or similar videos as well. But as always, make sure to stay positive, be you, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Is It Worth It? Peace.